This interview is for information only and should not be considered as investment advice or a recommendation to buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this Stock Box interview.
Kazera Global plc has announced that its subsidiary Whale Head Minerals has been requested by South Africa's Department of Mineral Resources and Energy to provide a guarantee for the rehabilitation of the mining area at its Par Devley Heavy Mineral Sands project. The guarantee is a step in the WHM's application for a mining right for the Par Devley area, suitable for immediate mining. Well, joining us today is the CEO, Dennis Edmonds. Dennis, thank you for your time. How are you?
Hi, Mark. Pleasure to be here. I'm very well, thank you.
Well, thank you very much. So this, just to get some explanation a little bit more around this environmental guarantee that you've had to go down here. What does it mean? How critical is it for the future prospects of this project?
It comes down to the fact that we're applying for a mining right over the adjacent beach. When I say the adjacent beach, we're looking at something which is in the excess of 3,000 hectares in total, of which we have identified approximately 170 hectares for immediate mining. The importance of that to the company is that we currently have a site which is 5 hectares in size, and from that there we can generate very, very healthy profits for any small AIM company. Increasing that there by a mining area of 34 times takes it from being a interesting little money spinner into a major player in the area. So it is incredibly important. I think the environmental guarantee is simply a sign, really, that the mining right is progressing faster than we'd expected it to. The DMRE is working very, very efficiently at the moment in South Africa, which is very encouraging. It's progressing faster than we'd expected. We hadn't expected to be called upon to provide this guarantee this early. And so it's fantastic news.
Okay, so that's a sign then that the authorities are progressing or faster than you originally anticipated in granting you the mining right.
Mark, that's right. These things aren't cheap. The guarantee itself, what is required is for 6.1 million rand, which is roughly £300,000. That's a lot of money in anybody's terms, but particularly in South African terms. So these are, it's not a question of when you're applying for a mining right, we'll just put one of those in place just in case. There's a progression, obviously, but it's a very, very positive sign that things are going in the right direction.
Okay, and this is, the RNS definitely noted as well that instead of taking the traditional prospecting route, you've applied directly for the mining right due to your confidence in the area's potential. So you're going straight for the right effectively to start mining as soon as, and processing as soon as you get that guarantee, that granted.
Yeah, exactly. It's always been Kazera's approach is to try to get things into operation and producing money as fast as we possibly can. Yeah. And I keep banging on about the fact that, in 4.5 years, Kazera has gone from being an idea to being a producing company. And there are very few mining operations who can claim that. And the approach we've taken in regard to 2A has been exactly the same. We know the beach, we know the area really well. Instead of going the traditional route of prospecting rights and drilling and feasibility studies and all the rest of it, we know we can make this work. And we have applied for a mining right, which will give us a 30-year right to renewable, and immediately give us the right to start mining once it's been granted. So it's all a part of accelerating returns for shareholders.
Well, you're sounding certainly very confident there about getting into that production and making it work. So you say now you've got 5 hectares, and are you increasing that to, what was the number?
It's increasing it by another 170 of immediately mineable area. Right. The total area of 2A is 3,000 hectares. So it's a lot bigger than we'll be mining. And the reason that area is like that is because the mining will take place on pretty localized beach areas. We're very focused on our environmental obligations and not creating environmental issues. And so we are specifically focused on mining where we are not going to do that. And so we're going to be picking out the areas where we can mine safely without any environmental impact or any adverse environmental impact. But there's a lot there. We know of 170 hectares, but there's an enormous amount more, obviously, in 3,000 hectares all along the beach to be explored and possibly mined in the future.
Indeed. And you mentioned just a minute ago about not going down doing the studies, the PEA, the DFS, etc., getting into mining. How can investors, perhaps without those studies, really understand the economics of on the prospectivity of this area?
Well, we understand the what we've got at Wolfers Corp. Diamonds have been mined along 2A, and so we have first-hand knowledge of what the beach is like and what the composition of the beach is, and we are pretty confident that it is at least as good as Wolfers Corp is.
Okay, good. And you able to communicate numbers at some point, or will you have to wait till you get into production to see how things are really turning out?
Mark, I think it'll be a fairly easy calculation for investors to make once we're generating cash and have got offtake agreements in place at Whalehead. It will be very easy to just simply extrapolate that. And if Kazera's got a value of 40 or 50 million when we're in production in Whalehead, multiply that there by 10, 20 or 30 times.
Okay, that's good. That's good to have that in the back of the mind there. So just on how you funded, indeed, this insurance policy for the environmental rehabilitation, it was funded by a £45,000 loan from one of your largest shareholders, Takata, who we've spoken about quite a lot before. I noticed some questions or concerns were perhaps coming up from shareholders as to why you had to take sort of this loan, which seems like almost a very small, insignificant amount, and some of the questions around perhaps the terms of the loan. So was this the decision, is this the best decision that you feel was right for the company and the shareholders to take this this sort of loan to get this environmental matter moving forward?
Yeah, definitely. What we're trying to do at the moment is to make sure that we avoid diluting shareholders at a stage when we're just about to come into production. We are managing the budget. We've got a very clear idea of where we're going to get to and what we need to do to get into production. So that there is all clear and sorted. What we didn't expect was to have this request at this stage. We were expecting it. We'd be getting it next year, and we'd be funding it out of profits. So it was a very nice curveball to receive. Okay. But it meant we had to make a quick short-term plan, and we were really lucky and very appreciative of the fact that Takata were prepared to step into the breach and to help us. Okay.
And just thinking about, of course, the existing infrastructure at the Valviskop project, will you be able to use some of this for the Pedavili project as well, or will it be completely separate?
Yeah, the two will be very close to each other. So the Wolfers Corp will definitely be used. Essentially, Wolfers Corp will be working pretty close to capacity. But the benefit of it is that we can take samples from Padaflay, put them through the Wolfers Corp process, and we can then produce samples for customers, etc. So it'll be used, but we'll need to invest quite substantially to build a bigger plant. But that investment might well and probably won't come from us. There are a number of off-takers who would very much like to be taking much bigger volumes than we are able to produce at the moment. And in discussions with a number of them, there have been indications that they would be prepared to fund the building of a plant at Padaflay, but also the upgrading of the plant at Wolfers Corp. So we might well look at an off-taker, for instance, funding magnetic separators at Wolfers Corp to enable us to increase the purity of the product and to divide out the various elements so that we can supply ilmenite to those who want to buy ilmenite and zircon to those who want to buy zircon, for instance.
Well, just on the potential off-takers then, I mean, what, if you can disclose anything on discussions that may or may not be going on behind the scenes and when something might be closed? Also, will you have to wait for an off-take agreement to effectively be signed before you can actually start mining here? So anything you can give on, how off-takers come into it and when you hope to be able to announce something?
Okay, well, all I can say at the moment really is that my days are filled with talking to off-takers. We are approached daily by various people interested in off-take agreements. We have had some very positive discussions with some of them who looked like being very, very good partners. There are a number of things. There are off-takers who will simply buy the raw product. There are off-takers who want to buy a refined product. They are both different possibilities. Our first focus is going to be on cash flow, so it'll probably be on providing a fairly unrefined product. But it would be ideal to be doing that with somebody who has the capacity and the desire to buy a purified product and to pay a better price for that. But then you also have off-takers that we will be actually doing the transporting for. We have off-takers who prepare to pay us at the mine gate. We have off-takers who prepare to pay us on 30 days. We have off-takers who prepare to pay us immediately at the gate. There's a number of different possibilities that we need to balance and ensure that we get the best possible deal for the company, which will generate cash as fast as possible, but also not just giving it away. We want to be doing the best possible deal. Yeah,
indeed. And will you only commence mining once you've got 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 off-take agreements signed?
No. We're already in the process of mining in terms of heavy mineral sands is produced as part of the or mining heavy mineral sands ready to go through the system. That will continue. We'll build up a stockpile. What we have done with Alex Core is we now have very close access to the main road, which means that it reduces the infrastructure costs for which we'd be responsible. The whole thing is moving in a really, really positive direction at the moment.
Okay, you say you're having calls daily every day. And before the end of the year, would you hope to have agreements signed?
Definitely.
Right. Okay. Good. Thank you for that, Dennis. Just a question I picked up on. Someone was inquiring as to how the Perdevli project might affect the company's valuation, and considering the additional 170 hectares is granted here, will the valuation really only be realised once you've effectively got that licence granted? So, if you could say anything on how this area, sort of affects the valuation or the investment proposition of Kazera.
My view is that our investors probably have a much better idea of valuations than I do. My job is to make this thing work and to produce money. But having said that, I would think this news on its own is a positive. I mean, if you were an exploration company and you'd drilled a hole and you'd had some interesting intersections, that they would probably push up the value. The difference between that there and what we're talking about is enormous. We're talking about an application for a mining right, and there's been a positive step forward in terms of that process. Once we have the mining right, we're going to be mining. So it's an enormous difference from some exploration and digging some holes and hoping that those there one day might lead to a profit, which obviously is the case in exploration companies. So my view would be that it's an enormously positive thing. But, we have to wait until the end of January for this process to complete.
Okay, end of January. Okay, well, thank you, Dennis. And how are you finding the transition from really the development stage company here to basically a profitable producer, and how do you balance both these areas here, both the Wolverstock and the Perdevli project, which is of course now the bigger of the two?
Mark, it's incredibly exciting. Whalehead on its own, as I said earlier, is a very nice little project. It will make good money and it will give good returns to shareholders. Being able to increase that by a minimum of 34 times is fantastic. We've been through the development phase. We've done that, and we've done that there from an absolute dead start. The development of powder flare won't be from a dead start. It will be with an offtake partner in place. It'll be with the benefit of having bought and operated the machinery we're using at Volfus Corp. It'll be with the benefit of the transport and nuclear regulator and all the rest of the knowledge that has been acquired over the last 4.5 years. Much, 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 much easier going forward.
Okay, good. So in terms of just what's to come as we go through the end of the year, are you expecting early January to have that granted and that mining right granted? And what any of the sort of main stage gates you've got to go through with the authorities between now and then?
None. The process now is that the DMRE has until the 31st of the end of January to approve it. Once they have done that, there is a period of 21 days for people to appeal, and then it will be granted if there is no successful appeal. Okay. And just on the appeal thing, we have had people lodging objections previously. Those objections have been ruled upon by the DMRE in our favor, and we are progressing. So we're very, very confident that, the objections that have been received up to date have been dealt with in our favor, and that anything, if there is anything, quite honestly, going forward, that it will be dealt with. We have great support. One of the things that should never be overlooked with our projects, both the diamond and the heavy mineral sands projects in South Africa, is the support we enjoy from the Richtersveld community. And they are 50% shareholders in Alex Corp. They own the land upon which we're mining, and they are incredibly supportive because they can see the benefits of a successful mining operation, employing more people, generating wealth for the area. So that's an enormous advantage that we have.
Okay, good. So profitable operation H1 2025?
No, profitable operation earlier than that there from Volfus Corp or Whalehead Minerals, and then a transformational increase in the size of the company during early 2025. Yeah, so really, genuinely exciting times.
Well, thank you very much for your time. As always, Dennis Edmonds, the CEO of Kazera Global.
Great, thank you, Mark.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stockboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.